Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the new Foxeer HS1177 V2 camera. And as you know, Foxeer has been updating all of its cameras with this new style, the metallic case and different set of pinouts in the back. And of course they have to now finally go back and update the classic HS1177, of course. So it appears that the sensor and probably most of the electronics are probably about the same. You got the same 600 TV line sensor. It's a 1/3 inch CCD Sony sensor there, and this particular one is NTSC and IR blocked. The input voltage range is much wider now. It's 5 to 40 volts. I believe the older version was only 5 to 22 volts, so that's an improvement, but that's pretty typical. They've done that to all of their other updates on the Monster and the Arrow, etc. So of course, to get your instruction manual, you get your wiring loom. This one is a 6-pin connector, but only the 3 on the left and the 2 on the right are being used. You get your voltage, your ground, and your video, and then you got your OSD connection here on the right. The 2 on the right corresponds to these pinouts over here. You get an updated OSD control board here that goes to that pigtail. And lastly, you get an updated mounting hardware along with some M2 screws. Okay, so here's a closer look at the back. I don't know what the 3rd pin over does. It's blank. Probably does nothing, but they've opted to go with just a 6-pin connector here all the way across. I know that the Swift, for example, does a 3-pin and then right next to it a separate 2-pin. So you have 2 separate connectors. They've opted to go with a single connector here, and they went for a 2.5 millimeter lens. It's got a wider lens than the original HS1177. Actually, I'll bring that in here for comparison. So this is the original HS1177 on the left. It came with 4-pin connector here for your video, ground, power, and OSD. And the voltage range is only 5 to 22 volts. Obviously you got the plastic case here, and a lot of people complain about that because the mounting would strip out. Whenever you have metal screws going into plastic, it will strip out most likely. Now the another thing that people complained about was the lens. People didn't like the narrow lens that the original HS1177 came with, and here's the look at the original lens that was in here that I pulled out, and I swapped that out for a GoPro lens. Now I think when I first did the GoPro lens swaps, they were like 15 bucks, and then I found some cheaper sources that were a little bit less. I think they were like 7 or 8 bucks, but it's still additional cost for the camera, and you have to do some additional work. I believe the new version, as you can see here, the lens is probably going to be similar in terms of field of view. We'll actually do a little video test here, video sample, see what that field of view looks like. But it's nice that they got the wider angle lens on there already, so that you don't have to bother and do a lot of mods yourself. Okay, let's compare the weight of these two cameras. Now obviously this isn't the original weight because I have a GoPro lens in here, so it's a little bit heavier than the stock, but it has the plastic case. So this is about 14.7 grams. And then this is the new version with the metallic case, probably going to be heavier. Just a tad, about half a gram more, looks like 15.3. So yeah, I definitely would prefer the metallic case over the plastic case in this case. Okay, so I got the original HS1177 here with the GoPro lens plugged in and transmitting to my FPV monitor. I just wanted to get a look at the field of view of this and also the settings. I'm just pointing it off to my right here, and I got a little window. You can see here that I'm going to try and get the edge of this window here, and it looks like I've got another window over there, and that looks like both of the edges are in the field of view horizontally. And we've got the bottom of the window here, and that's a clock right there in the top of the frame. So this is a vertical field of view. That's what this looks like with the original HS1177 with the GoPro lens. And I'm going to put the lens cap on here at this point and look at the settings because it's harder to see with all the background video. Okay, so go in here and I'm going to go ahead and reset everything to stock. And we'll take a look at the version here. And that's the version. I think this has something to do maybe the year and month and day that the firmware was developed, 2010 perhaps. But we'll take a look at the newer version and see what the firmware is on that. I believe all of the menu options here are going to be the same in the newer version, but we'll just go take a quick look here. I'm pretty sure that all the HS1177 style cameras are going to have similar setting options available to you. Okay, so now I got the new version 2 HS1177 plugged in and transmitting to my monitor. Pointed off to the same direction here on the right. As you can see, the field of view actually looks a little bit wider than the version 1 with the GoPro lens. This is a 2.5mm lens on this version 2. So I will have this pointing to the right side of the window here. As you can see a little bit more to the left. Before, you can only go as far as the side of this window here. So there's actually a little bit wider field of view. Up and down also up here to the vertically also appears a little bit wider as well. If I have this down at the center of the bottom frame of the window, you can now actually see the entire clock as well as part of the ceiling. So with the lens on the new version here, you actually get a wider field of view. So if you like that, then this is definitely a plus for you. For you guys that like to fly with a lot of camera tilt, you're not going to lose the ground, especially when you're landing and taking off, for example. And I actually like this. I prefer this. Okay, go ahead and put the lens cap on here. Let's take a look at the settings. And as I expected, the menus don't look any different. Just going to go ahead and reset everything to factory just to be sure. And we'll go into the special menu. And here it has the same version, 10.09.09. So it would probably be, in my opinion, I think that, at least my speculation would be that the image quality and image processing probably isn't going to be all that different. Obviously, you have a different lens on here, so you're going to have a slightly different field of view. Obviously, the color reproduction of the lens is going to be a little different because the GoPro lens probably has a little bit more IR block than whatever this is here. That's just my speculation. I'm not 100% sure on that. And obviously, you have the cosmetic differences with the metallic case and a different connector here in the back, and also some different mounting options. And lastly, of course, the OSD control pad is also different as well, and you get this pigtail here, which you didn't have in the original HS1177. So definitely a lot of welcomed improvements. Okay guys, so I'm going to close out this video by going ahead and putting this into the quad that I took the original version 1 HS1177 out of. I'm going to stick this in there and give it a fly, and we'll close the video out with a little bit of flight footage for you. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.